Guys, it's all about goals, right? The end of the year is coming up here shortly, and regardless if it's, a new year approaching or if it's just, hey, I already achieved my goals, maybe it's a certain, weight, maybe it's get off your medications, maybe it's whatever the case may be, and you want to set new goals for yourself, this masterclass is really going to help you out. Let me give you guys the breakdown in terms of what we're going to be talking about for the discussion. The first parts of this is talking about creating smart goals for yourself. Very, very important. I know everybody has these big, huge goals, but if let's say you weigh 500 pounds and you want to get down to 185 pounds in 2 weeks, that's not a smart goal, right? Not realistic at all. So, what we're going to be talking about is how to create smart goals and what that actually means. And then we're going to be going into a specific game plan for our SMART goal after I talk about that. The reality roadmap, which I think for everybody, including myself, is such a important recap, an important lesson to just always have a friendly reminder on the reality on how it actually works. Whether, once again, your goal is to lose body fat, your goal is to build muscle, have more confidence, better status in your career, make more money, whatever the case may be, there's always this reality roadmap at hand that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about roadblocks because, once again, challenges are going to come. No, journey is ever going to be a straight line. It's never going to be perfect. And some of these roadblocks, you guys are not going to even understand what they mean until we actually do a deep dive into them when we talk about this later on in the presentation. And then lastly, which I'm super, super, super happy about, I added this in last minute. It's creating a manifesto. You guys know, being here inside of our coaching program, it's not just about fat loss. It's not just about nutrition, but it's also about mindset. It's about confidence. It's really helping you guys become the best version of yourself mentally and physically. And that means all four pillars. That's your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and then lastly, your spiritual health. And the manifesto has helped out so many people. Coach Mark, Brian Patton, for example. And I want to share with you guys how to actually create a manifesto for yourself to literally set yourself up for success as a reminder. And then most importantly is like how to actually do that in a way where it has your goal in the back of mind. So with that being said, let's dive into SMART goals. I'm sure you guys seen this plenty of times, but SMART, right, stands for specific, measurable, obtainable, relative, and time bound. So when it comes down to creating goals, once again, if you're somebody that's 400 pounds, 500 pounds, and you want to get down to 200 pounds in like a month, that's not exactly a SMART goal, right? So I figured for today, there's a lot of guys that want to get off their medications. There's a lot of guys that want to lose weight. There's a lot of guys that want to, get stronger and build more muscle. But I also know a lot of guys want to get down under 15% body fat. So I want to make that the main meat and potatoes. But remember, if this is something that you want to do in your own spare time where you want to change up the goals, still continue to make SMART goals for yourself. Getting underneath 15% body fat. Take a look at just where you are right now on this scale, this image. And I would say if you're taking down notes, great. Write down just currently where you're at right now based on your body fat percentage. Maybe you're somebody that tracks. Maybe you're somebody that doesn't track your progress. We're going to be talking about that here in a little bit also. But just whatever, you are currently at right now. And let's just say you're at 23% or maybe 20%. And just draw like an arrow just directing it over to the next column on that piece of paper to sub 15. And you can change it up if you want. If you want to be 12%, awesome. If you want to be 10%, awesome. But once again, I figured, hey, let's start off with a small realistic goal where if you're watching this right now and let's say you're 30, maybe even 35% body fat and you want to get down to 15% body fat in the next, 12 months. That's a pretty smart goal. It's very realistic. Now let's talk about actually how to do that when it comes to creating this game plan. So before we do that, once again, why this is a SMART goal, it's specific, right? To achieve 15% body fat while gaining lean muscle. It's measurable. You can track your weight, your body fat percentage, strength progress weekly. It's achievable, right? Remember, creating realistic targets for yourself. So if you think about it, losing about, 1 to 2 pounds, which is great. If you're doing that per week, that's awesome progress. And realistically, remember, fat loss isn't linear, but still, if on average you're losing, let's just say anywhere from like 5 to 10 pounds per month, that's great progress towards getting underneath 15% body fat. And then relative. This goal is in alignment, right, with improved health, confidence, and most importantly, discipline, and then time bound, reaching this within 6 to 12 months. The game plan, what we're going to be going over today for, achieving that set result of getting underneath 15% body fat is nutrition, exercise, mindset, and tracking. Once again, for most of you guys that's watching this right now inside of our live coaching call, you guys are our members. So you guys understand exactly the game plan for success. But this is just going to be a friendly reminder to once again give you reassurance. And if you're somebody that is watching this maybe on YouTube or Spotify right now, listening in, this is going to once again be a great, game plan for you to set yourself up for success if your goal is to get underneath 15% body fat. So nutrition, first and foremost, 3 key things for this one, guys: calorie deficit, protein, 80-20 rule. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS, right? That's one of the mottos that we like to talk about at Heartletics. With nutrition, guys mess it up all the time. They think like, oh, I'll just follow a diet, but you can follow let's say a ketogenic diet or a paleo diet or a low carb diet or Atkins or South Beach or carnivore diet. But regardless, if you're eating right and you're in a calorie maintenance or a calorie surplus, you're not in a deficit, you're not going to achieve that 15% body fat. It's literally the laws of thermodynamics at that point, So when it comes down to it, you got to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit. You don't want to be way too under in a calorie deficit because remember, our goal is to also maintain our lean muscle tissue. We don't want to undereat. I know a lot of guys struggle with that when it comes to doing intermittent fasting or very low calorie diets. They're not actually fueling their body properly. So we want to make sure we're doing this strategically. And how do we do it strategically? For starters, make sure when you're in that calorie deficit, you're eating plenty of protein, okay? At least 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, I recommend having at least 200 grams of protein, at least. For me personally, I'm about $1.90 right now, and I consume anywhere from 230 to 250 grams of protein per day. That's what works really, really good for me when it comes to more strength, more energy, overall better fat loss results, sustainability for sure. Obviously, with protein being higher up on the thermic effect of food, making me feel fuller longer, it works, okay? As far as carbs and fats go, I don't have that on here because you shouldn't be worried about it. Whether you're high fat, high carb, low carb, it does not matter at all. Once again, those are things that are just going to complicate it, confuse you, and most importantly, take you off track. If let's just say you ever mess up and you're ever missing those goals, it can be very hard to be, continuing on with your fat loss journey because you're like, man, this is too hard for me to hit. Remember, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And lastly, 80-20 rule. Eat whole, nutrient-dense foods at least 80% of the time. And what you're doing with that is allowing the flexibility, right? So maybe that's the alcohol, maybe that's the donuts, maybe that's the cakes, maybe that's going out to eat, whatever the case may be. As long as 80% of the time you're in the clear, hitting that calorie deficit and having that protein, you're going to be setting yourself for success, plain and simple. In a rule of thumb, also a calendar year, there's 365 days out of the year. If you want to look at for them the bigger picture, if let's just say 65 days out of that year are holidays, sick days, days where you can't work out or you're off track with your nutrition, or anniversaries, birthdays, celebrations, whatever the case may be, where you're just off track. If you just round up and had 65 of those days off your plates and still were pretty good with 300 days out of those year, guess what? That's a very successful year. You're setting yourself up for success. And sometimes we have to look at the bigger picture that way. We can't look at it from the, oh man, I missed up on 2 days this week or 3 days or it was a bad weekend. We once again have to pull ourselves out of the day-to-day and look at the overall bigger picture. Exercise, I have this second after nutrition because remember, you can't out-train a bad diet. When it comes down to exercise, there's really 2 things that you guys need to focus on: strength training and cardio. That's it. In terms of cardio, we like using what's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So if you want to run, great, kudos to you. If you want to walk, kudos to you. If you want to do the elliptical, swimming, whatever the case may be, just focus on getting plenty of steps in, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But let's first go right back to strength training. This could be done at the gym. This could be done at home with or without equipment. Obviously, if you're in the gym, there's plenty of tools at your disposal. You have leg press machines, you have more dumbbells, more kettlebells, you have barbells, you have cable machines, right? different variations of training to just help with better progress overall. And you can focus on a much easier time of progressive overload. Now, compared to somebody working out of their home, and maybe they have access to dumbbells and kettlebells, or maybe they don't have access to anything at all, it doesn't mean that they still can't achieve that 15% body fat. It just means that the journey just looks a little bit different for them. So maybe instead of lifting heavier weights because you only have access to a limited amount of equipment at home, maybe you're doing more reps, or maybe you're working out more than 3 to 5 days. Maybe you're doing something daily that's just small, just a shorter duration, something that is, once again, where you can at least track your progress and making sure that you're pushing yourself. That's the biggest thing. Now back to the steps, I put on here, aim for at least 7,000 steps per day. That's a really, really good average point to aim for, but I recommend having at least 10,000 steps. The more steps, the better fat loss you're going to see overall. If you can get 12,000 steps, great. You're going to get down to 15% body fat a lot faster. If you can get 15,000 steps, once again, great. You're going to get down to 15% body fat a lot faster than if, let's say, you're averaging 5,000 steps a day. Okay. The more steps helps with better fat loss progress, helps with better overall just your metabolic rates when it comes to just seeing better progress overall. Mindset. This is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty, guys, with a lot of different mindset techniques, a lot of different mindset practices. You guys know, once again, inside of our coaching program, it's a lot of mindset. It's the foundation. It's exactly what you need to change your identity, change your self-limiting beliefs, and really help you. So when it comes down to the mindset for getting down to 15% body fat, I have on here just two things. I didn't want to get into all the nitty gritty with, meditation or other self-help practices that we go over inside of our coaching program. I figured for this one, it's not going to take a long time, but it is going to require practice. It is going to require some repetition. Napoleon Hill talks about in his book, Outwitting the Devil, repetition is the mother of all learning. So I highly recommend you guys just practice this. And it doesn't have to be a long time at all. It could be very short, simple, to the point. Okay. The first one on here is visualization. And what I put on here is just a few little key notes to keep this in mind to make this practice easier for you to remember. The first thing is to sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, focus on some deep breaths. Second is to visualize yourself looking in the mirror, right? Feeling confident, feeling strong in your own skin. Maybe also picture yourself walking on a beach. You're proud of your progress. I don't have it in here, but maybe it's your spouse or your kids are like, man, like they're holding on to your muscles and they're saying, look how strong you are. Like these are great things that is going to, once again, get all our emotions involved. And that's the key for visualization, is getting your emotions, joy, confidence, feeling overall just better and happier. That's the real key. And it doesn't have to be a long practice. Visualization could be as short as 5-10 minutes a day. That's it. I recommend doing it in the morning. I recommend doing it in the evening time. And when we get more into the manifesto, you guys are going to learn a little bit more about that as well, how to just combine the two. Second on here is just a mixture of gratitude and also self-reflection. So I recommend, getting maybe a journal and just writing down like maybe 3 wins from the course of the day that you had. Maybe it was like hitting your protein goal, getting plenty of steps in, maybe you did your workout, whatever the case may be. But then also writing down just what is something that you can do to just make improvements on for the following day. And maybe that is, planning your meals better to avoid snacking. Maybe that is, I'm going to try to go for that PR, or, maybe it could be something else. Like I want to spend more quality time with my family. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be just health and fitness related. I want this to be more so of just how can you improve to just become a better version of yourself overall. And then lastly, maybe write down in that gratitude journal, maybe some affirmations. I'm getting stronger, I'm getting leaner each and every day. Whatever is going to resonate with you, just to make you, once again, feel better, right? That's the whole key of all this. If you're in a low vibrational place or a low vibrational frequency where you feel, ashamed or guilty or upset or sad or angry, it's going to be a lot harder to feel motivated. Key thing, right? It's going to feel a lot harder to feel motivated to work out. It's going to feel a lot harder to feel motivated to, eat your protein and focus on your nutrition and to show up each and every day to become the best version of yourself. That's the key of affirmations. That's the key of gratitude, self-reflection, and once again, the visualization. So tracking, very simple for you guys. Once again, being inside of our coaching program, We don't require a lot, but we do require data if you want to get the best results, right? So the first thing that you should be tracking is your body stats. That's your weight, your progress photos, and your body fat percentage. Okay, some people out there, they just track their weight. That's stupid, right? Because you can drink some alcohol, you can go out to eat, get some sushi, have a whole bunch of sodium, you're going to gain a whole bunch of water weight. That does not show up on the number on the scale, right? Like that's just completely different from your body fat percentage. So don't just track that. You want to track all variables. If, let's say, also you're new to weightlifting, you're new to tracking your macros, you're eating more protein, it's very realistic to put on lean muscle tissue first and then lose body fat, also at the same time, called body recomposition. So, once again, if, let's say, you're not tracking your progress photos and you're just tracking the number on the scale, but if you just heard me say that by eating more protein, by lifting more weights, muscle weighs more than fat, the number on the scale might go up, but you might look a whole lot better just by once again following through the program, this body recomposition. And that's the importance of doing the progress photos so you can actually see your progression. Second is tracking your macros, making sure that you're in a calorie deficit, eating plenty of protein, pretty self-explanatory. Third is recording your exercise, right? Maybe that is your workouts, focusing on progressive overload. Maybe if you're at the gym and how much you're actually doing for per set and rep and how much weight. That way you can make these improvements on. And then also your daily steps. And then lastly, accountability. That's the key. Find a coach to review progress with you weekly. Join a fitness community for support. That's what's going to be the glue that really holds everything all together, especially when times get tough. For this picture, it does a great job actually just sharing with you, hey, how does fat loss work overall based on a pyramid scheme? Okay. The foundation here is the habits, it's the mindset. If, let's say, you don't believe, right, that, hey, you can lose and get down to 15% body fat, if you don't have the right habits in place, yeah, it's going to be very hard for somebody to be successful. If, once again, the belief system, the identity is not there, it's going to be hard for you. If, let's just say, your stress, your sleep, you're drinking tons of alcohol, which stops lipolysis, which is your body's hormonal process of losing body fat, if that is not in check, right, you're metabolically making it harder for you to lose body fat. And then we have your daily movement. We can just talk about steps one more time, right? Getting plenty of steps in. And then the nutrition. And then lastly, the training. The training is the icing on the cake, I always like to say. This right here, I love talking about just because everybody goes through challenges, adversity, struggles. But when you can, once again, get yourself out of the trenches and look at the overall bigger picture, this is what's really going to help you out, okay? So first off, you've heard me talk about this plenty of times. Fat loss is not linear, okay? There's so many things that changes when it comes to losing body fat, but there's never going to be a straight line, right? When it comes to reaching your overall goals, whether it is getting down to 50% body fat, putting on muscle, having a new career, anything like that, it's never going to be a straight line. There's always going to be different trends, okay? Obviously, with you guys inside of our coaching program, you guys can see all your progress. You can see your overall trends. And what you want to look for is the bigger picture. Maybe using the app and going for the 3 months or the 6 months or the 12 months or the 2-year or the 3-year or the 5-year. You can take a look at the bigger picture as long as you're recording your data and you can see how you're progressing. And as long as that trend is moving downward, that's the progression that you want. But keep in mind that some weeks you're going to gain some weight. Some weeks you're not going to lose anyway. You're just going to hit a stall, and that's okay, right? That's okay. You need to understand that. When it comes down to roadblocks, there's 5 challenges that everybody faces. And this right here, I think, is going to be a great understanding for a lot of you guys that's watching this, because sometimes when there's roadblocks and challenges faced our way, we don't know what that actually means. But now if you're watching this and you can actually see like, oh, I remember Coach Joe telling me about this. This is just a challenge. It's just a roadblock. It doesn't mean that you still can't reach your goals. It just means that, hey, there's a little hindrance, okay? If, let's just say that I put in my GPS, I want to go down to Naples, Florida from Cleveland, Ohio, it would take me about 19 hours, right? Now, if, once again, that's a perfect world. If I'm going to stop and get gas, which I probably am, if I'm going to stop somewhere and go to sleep, which I probably am, if I'm going to stop somewhere and, go to the bathroom and eat some food, which I probably am, it's going to take a lot longer than 19 hours. It's the same thing with somebody on their fat loss journey, okay? These roadblocks, these hiccups, they're there. It's the reality. You can't avoid them. They're always going to come. But remember, what stops me from getting down to Naples, Florida is me by just turning around and going home. It doesn't matter how fast I'm going, doesn't matter how slow I'm going. As long as I'm still progressing and moving towards that area, I will eventually get there. That's the same mindset that you need to have, especially when we talk about these challenges that you're going to occur on your fat loss journey. So let's talk about mindset challenges first. Okay. Lack of patience, expecting quick results, getting discouraged by slow progress. I know a lot of people struggle with that. Second is perfectionism. So feeling kind of just defeated, maybe a small slip up. Who knows? Maybe it's just like, you had a weekend, bender where you just overeat, you had too much alcohol, you step on the scale the next day, which you probably shouldn't, and it overall just hurts you, and it makes you feel like, man, this is too hard for me, you're not giving yourself enough grace. Third on here is self-doubt, question your ability to reach your goals, especially after setbacks. Comparison, comparing yourself to others who are progressing faster than you. The fear of failure, avoiding effort of becoming, the fear of not achieving the goal, and procrastinating. Now, these are the mindset challenges. Sure, some of you guys, right, inside this coaching program have all faced this from time to time. Let's talk about the knowledge gaps. For most of you guys that's inside this coaching program, this does not apply to you because obviously you made the right decision. You signed up for a coach. For somebody that might be watching this on YouTube and, listening in on Spotify, or who knows, maybe this is kind of like you guys back in the day before you got signed up for our coaching program. This right here could, once again, be a challenge and just stop somebody from progressing. The first one is uncertainty. I know a lot of guys out there that they'll typically do a diet or a workout program they find online. It's very cookie cutter, not personalized for their body types, not personalized for their schedule or their lifestyle. And it's the same thing as throwing spaghetti up on the wall, hoping and praying something sticks. And it gives them uncertainty because they're like, man, am I actually doing the right things or not? The second is conflicting information, right? Overanalysis paralysis. There's guys out there telling you to eat carbs and they have six-pack abs like myself. There's guys out there telling you to avoid carbs, right? And they have six-pack abs. And you're like, oh my gosh, who do I believe? This guy has abs, this guy has abs. Like, what am I supposed to do here? There's so much information online. That's why I always tell everybody it's like probably best to just see somebody that's a professional in the field to actually teach you and educate you on what is going to work best for your body type and how to create sustainable habits. The third is, lack of skills. Maybe you're struggling with meal planning, grocery shopping, cooking healthy meals. Maybe you don't know how to track things effectively. This once again could be a hindrance. And then the last one is misaligned goals. Focusing so much on the weight instead of body, composition and just overall health. Now let's get into physical challenges, okay? These are injuries, illnesses, fatigue, plateaus. We talk about this all the time here at Heartletics, okay? So once again, maybe you're dealing with an injury, minor setback, a challenge. Maybe you're sick or your family's sick. Once again, a minor setback. Maybe it's fatigue, like, oh man, I have no more energy. I'm, drained, right? I've had this long weekend at work because I had to, travel. Now I'm here at the gym and I crushed it all this week. The next week you feel like, just crap. And, that's where we give you guys strategies like, let's say a deload week, something like that to just help you overcome these challenges. Same thing with like the injuries and the illnesses. It's like, okay, hey, you can't work out because you hurt your ankle or your knee. Maybe you can't get those steps in, but maybe we can focus more on our mindset. Maybe we can focus more on our nutrition. It's all about rolling with the punches, guys. And the last one is like, once again, plateaus. That's going to happen. But having the right people in your corner to support you, hold you accountable, can really help you out when it comes to changing your perspective to actually see if you're in a plateau or not, but also to help you on making those small little tweaks to help you get out of that plateau. Let's talk about external challenges. This is, once again, everybody is faced with these from time to time. Busy schedules, travels, social events, work environment, okay? Busy schedules, lack of time, to work out, there's family, there's commitment, there's other things where seasons of life are going to happen, guys. And this is why I don't want anybody to be obsessed with working out or be obsessed with their health and fitness. You should not, okay? You should learn the flexibility of how to incorporate this in your lifestyle and just say, okay, hey, with my schedule right now being so busy, maybe I can't go to the gym 5 times a week. maybe it's better for me to work out at home and do 3 times a week, 20-minute workouts. Remember, like it's the reality roadmap. Sure, that's going to be a little bit longer of a duration to reach your set goal of getting underneath 15% body fat. But as long as you're moving forward, as long as you're progressing, you still will eventually get there. You're going to hear me say that time and time again. Travels, right? It takes you out of routine. Maybe it's switching things up with the nutrition, or maybe you're, don't have access to equipment. I know that happens with me often when I travel, so it's just like learning how to roll with the punches. Social events, there's a lot of peer pressure there. There's temptation. You got, parties and work gatherings and holidays and people all around you. They're eating whatever it is, right? And it's tempting at times. Trust me. And this is why, once again, the importance of tracking your macros, applying the 80-20 rule, different strategies that we go over also when it comes to manipulation for those holidays or for those, special events. That way you can eat more food and still see better progress. And then lastly, the work environment, and this is not just what it says on here where it's, limited to healthy options at work or a sedentary desk job, but this could also be stress. If your coworkers are very toxic, they don't care about their health or they don't care about anything in general, right? It could be a very toxic relationship there at work, or your boss is constantly on your case. These are all going to do things, guys, when it comes to spiking your cortisol levels and putting you in a state of stress, which I'm going to talk about here. That's really going to help you guys out, okay? And then lastly, let's go to emotional challenges. This is stress, right? So maybe it's like turning to comfort food, skipping your workouts during stressful times, emotional eating, trying to cope with the sadness or boredom or anxiety, low motivation, struggling to stay constant with your initial excitement, right? Think about it. Beginning of the year, everybody is like, oh man, this is the year I'm going to make a change. And then typically by February or March, you don't have that excitement anymore. You don't have that motivation anymore. And that's why it's so important to focus on the right habits and the right form of discipline. And then lastly, body image issues. I know a lot of people, right? They struggle to actually see how they're progressing, to actually look at their progress photos, to actually look at themselves, especially look at themselves in the eyes in the mirror, And these are all things that we struggle with from time to time, and all these challenges that I just went over, the 5 different, challenges, it all leads to overall stress. Okay. Now, inside of our coaching program, we talk a lot about stress. You could be doing all the right things under the sun. You could be dialed into your macros, dialed into your workouts, getting plenty of steps. But if you're underneath a lot of stress, you're making it 10 times harder for you to actually see your body fat percentage go down. Okay. So for example, right here, 5 ways stress makes fat loss harder. First one, right? Intensifies your hunger and your cravings. Second, it slows down your metabolism by suppressing your thyroid production. Third, it drains your energy, plain simple. Where I know personally for me, if I'm underneath a lot of stress, man, like it becomes very difficult to get a workout in. Like I just want to like watch a movie and chill, or just eat because of anxiety or worry, anything like that. Once again, these are all challenges we all face. I've been doing this for over 15 years and I still face these challenges from time to time. It's all about perseverance, rolling with the punches, which I'm going to talk about here next. Stress interferes with sleep, right? It makes it just difficult to keep long-term goals in front of your mind. And you guys can see here, there's so many different effects of excess cortisol in the body, and how it, hinders us. It's not just metabolism, but depression, high blood pressure, chronic fatigue, sleep, migraines, tunnel vision, hunger, arthritis, lower immune system. The list goes on and on and on. Stress is the number one reason why people, in my opinion, die. Stress is also the number one reason why, in my opinion, people struggle to lose body fat. So keep that in mind. There's so many different things that you can do to relieve stress. I don't have anything here in this presentation on how to do so, but the best thing that I can tell you to do is find somebody in your corner to talk to. Find the right people that are going to support you. Get that crap off your chest. Maybe you just need to talk to somebody. That's it. And typically 99% of the time, that helps out in the biggest sense, is just by talking to somebody. I have this image up here of this guy chiseling himself. And like, I love this image. It motivates me so much. Just because at the end of the day, this is the thing I want you guys to keep in mind. Sometimes these challenges, they seem like it's the end all be all in front of you right now and you can never overcome them. But you got to keep in mind that this might be a blessing in disguise. I get it. Some challenges are a lot harder than others. But if let's just say you're injured, okay, and you were somebody that was so obsessed with working out, and that's all you cared about was working out, and you lacked hitting your protein goal, you lacked drinking water, you lacked focusing on tracking your macros because you were so obsessed with working out. By you actually getting injured and not working out anymore, that's a blessing in disguise because now you can change your perspective, roll with the punches, and focus that time and energy now into dialing more with the nutrition, which is 80% of the results, anyways, not the training, not the working out. And I love this image just because, to get these big chunks of fat off your body, it's going to require just a big, huge blow, one or two, that's it. But to get the fine-tuned details, the abs, right, the hairline, the muscles, the veins, right, like to actually get that image, that precise, that definition, that takes, once again, persistence. That takes also key details where it's not going to be these huge big chunks. It's going to be small little things, the small little daily habits. That's what's going to lead to the long-term results for you guys as well. So it's sometimes you might not see the progress, right, that you want ASAP or immediately or after the first week or two. But once again, it doesn't mean that underneath the surface, there's still not progress being made. There's still not that fine-tuned detail that's being carved out right now. In case you guys don't know what a manifesto is, I'm going to read this for you right now. A manifesto is a written declaration of beliefs, values, intentions, or goals that serves as guided statement or a vision for an individual, group, or organization. It's a powerful tool for clarity, focus, outlining what matters most, and acting as a roadmap for action and decision making. I've been using a manifesto, it's right here up on the board, for probably maybe 4 years now. And obviously, every 6 months, I change my manifesto because I'm changing my goals. Typically, my manifesto really helps me have success at reaching my goal. As soon as I have success at reaching my goal, I change up my manifesto. Okay. For this specific practice, since our goal here, our SMART goal that we created in the very beginning was getting underneath 15% body fat, I made the manifesto to be outlined around there. And I'm actually going to give you guys different examples, right? But keep this in mind. I don't want this to be a template that you just use and say to yourself. I want this to be a template that you use to give yourself permission to create your own manifesto, something that's going to resonate with you, something that's going to inspire you to feel motivated, something that's going to inspire you to, be like, man, I got this. I can do this. Even though I'm going through these challenges right now, I can still persevere. I can still overcome these challenges and still be successful at reaching my goals. And that's exactly what the elements of a manifesto does, right? It gives you purpose, which explains why it exists, right? And what it is that we're aiming to accomplish. It helps you with your belief system. It's a commitment, right? It's once again a declaration, and it's a vision, describing the ideal outcome or the future, at state, and it gives you that inspiration, right? I love my manifesto just because at the end of the day, no matter how hard times get, every time when I wake up in the morning, I read my manifesto, and it's that fuel source for me, the instant motivation that I need to just say, hey, maybe I can't do X, Y, and Z because that requires a lot more out of me today, and I'm just not feeling like it. Every dog has its day. But by reading my manifesto, it at least helps me show up. And that's the importance, guys. That's one of the biggest things that we try to, affirm and tell you guys each and every day. 1% better every single day. That's all you need to focus on. And sometimes just reading this manifesto, it shifts your focus, gets you right back in a state of alignment with your bigger picture goals, and just say, okay, hey, what can I do today to just show up? So here are 3 quick little manifesto templates to kind of use. And I really like these a lot, okay? The first one is, I'm committed to becoming the best version of myself. So just imagine you're reading that to yourself every single morning, start off just with that. And then it goes into every choice I make reflects my dedication to my health, my confidence, my self-discipline. I will honor my body, my mind, my spirit by consistently showing up even when it feels challenging. And then it says, I'm in control of my destiny. I choose foods that fuel my body and bring me closer to my goals. I train with purpose, knowing every rep, every step strengthens me inside and out. I rest and recover, respecting my body's needs for growth and renewal. Just by reading that, guys, every single day, right? Maybe making a small little tweak here and there based upon your bigger picture goals. I'm telling you, right? You read it in the morning, you read it right before you go to sleep. This helps you feel better. This helps you also with a better visualization when it comes to actually you doing that practice because you're going off of this as a template. The second manifesto is I am disciplined and consistent. I show up daily for my health, whether it's preparing my meals, moving my body, or prioritizing my sleep. Consistency is my superpower, and I rely on it to reach my goals. I see myself at 15% body fat, confident, proud, strong. I visualize my lean, healthy body and the joy it brings me. I feel the confidence radiating from within as I take care of myself. I remind myself that my goals are not just about my appearance, but about discipline, focus, and resilience I am cultivating. So that's the second manifesto. And then the third one is, and I like this one a lot. I like this one and the first one. It starts with I'm unstoppable. That's a great affirmation to start off the day with. I'm unstoppable. I am worthy of health, strength, and confidence I desire. My actions align with my goals, and I'm creating the future I envision, step by step, meal by meal, rep by rep. I embrace discomfort because I know it leads to growth. Think about that, guys. The next time you're dealing with a challenge, next time you're dealing with adversity, imagine having this manifesto or an affirmation where you just say that, quote unquote, I embrace discomfort because I know it leads to growth. That's such an optimistic mindset. When it comes back to this, it's, hey, my body feels the burn. I remind myself this is where change happens. When temptations arise, I remind myself I'm stronger than my cravings. When doubt creeps in, I replace it with action and faith in my process. Guys, I love manifestos. Every single, coaching member that we worked on their mindset and we helped them create a specific manifesto for them, they've seen such great results just by, once again, creating it specifically for them, reading it in the morning, reading it right before they go to sleep. I can't, talk about enough the benefits of it, okay? Let's finish things up here, guys, with talking about some real good stuff when it comes to your overall mindset and your goals, okay? For this, I want to know what is your why, and you should also know what your why is. There's a picture of a tree that's over here, and let's just say that your goals, these are the branches, okay? These are the leaves, these are the very top, right? And maybe your goal is to lose fat, build muscle, bench 315 pounds, fit into your favorite clothes again, okay? That's great, but we also need to understand that the trunk, okay, of that tree, these are your habits. These are the workouts, the nutrition, the mindset. But what's most important is your why. And these are the roots. This is what's underneath the surface that nobody sees. This is that internal conversation that you have with yourself. Maybe it's to live longer. Maybe it's to be a better role model for your kids, a better inspiration for others. Maybe you lack confidence because you got picked on way back in the day and made fun of because you're overweight, like myself. And maybe that deep-rooted why is, hey, I don't want other kids laughing at me. I don't want other people laughing at me again. I want to regain that confidence within myself, right? And prove it to myself I am worthy. So whatever your why is, you need to have that. Because if, let's say, it's a snowstorm outside and you have this big, huge tree, right? Big, huge, amazing branches sticking out in these leaves. Once again, your goals. But if, let's just say, there's a big storm and you don't have any roots that's underneath the surface, well, guess what? There's no why. So when that storm comes, when that challenge comes, maybe it's the curveballs at work, stress at home, maybe it's the injuries, the illnesses, the travels, the out of your routine. When there's no why, that tree is going to fall over. It's very easy to not feel motivated to go do things because you don't have a deep enough why. You need a strong why. That is always going to be the number one thing that's going to help you stay focused when it comes to reaching your health and fitness goals. And I have this quote from Jack Canfield, which I absolutely love. And he says, as you begin to take action toward the fulfillment of your goals and dreams, you must realize that not every action will be perfect. Let me repeat that one more time. You must realize that not every action will be perfect. Not every action will produce the desired results. Not every action will work. Making mistakes, getting it almost right, and experimenting to see what happens are all part of the process of eventually getting it right. It just goes back to what I said earlier, guys, about that reality roadmap. You're going to be faced with some struggles. You're going to fall into temptation. You're going to overeat. You're going to fall off track. It happens. It happens to myself all the time. But keep in mind that as long as you continue to progress, as long as you continue to show up, focus on the right mindset, that 1% better mentality, you will eventually reach your goals. The glue to help you stay on track with everything is accountability. It's surrounding yourself with the right group of people in your corner that's going to motivate you, that's going to hold you accountable, that's also going to support you. So that way you don't have to face these challenges alone anymore. I always say this, I get it from my pastor, a problem shared is a problem cut in half. And you guys heard me talk about the importance of stress earlier, that with all this stress, it's going to stop and hinder your progress when it comes to losing body fat. But sometimes, 99% of the time, you just need to get that stress off your plate and just talk to somebody. Just vent, and there's other practices to help you out. But regardless, bigger picture in all this, when it comes to reaching your health and fitness goals for the new year, or whether it's a different goal, maybe it's a career goal of yours, anything is possible as long as you have the right mindset, the right game plan, and continue to progress each and every day.